What's up? This is a review on my ToP16 Season 2. We +2 this key. I'm running Blind Faith. You can run the Fiery Brand build. This is a Spirit Bomb build, a little more fragile. Kind of just leaning into Kyle for my healing during my fragile moments. But it's a fortified weak sanguine. And there's a couple of mistakes I do, and but I'll just try to go down and just kind of tell you how I play this build. If you're playing the safer Fiery Brand build with the other legendary, instead of doing all the Spirit Bomb stuff and lining up your sigil, you're just gonna use your sigil to get threat, and you're just gonna soul cleave. You're just really trying to soul cleave as many shards as you can, so your Fiery Brand comes back on cooldown. So your goal is just to spread your Fiery Brand quickly, hold your meta until Fiery Brand is kind of wearing out, and then meta, and keep on soul cleaving during the entire time, and then bring Fiery Brand back up on cooldown. And that's usually your cycle, and you can use meta to really just, do like a get out of jail free kind of thing. So we're going to go into this first pull. I'm going to pull everything, and I'm going to use my sigil to ramp up my stacks. But I think I do a double Spirit Bomb thing here. So you want to get a couple of shards out and then sigil, and then you just press Spirit Bomb twice in a row, and you can get like as many shards as you can very quickly going into it. That's what I do. Fiery Brand, Demon Spikes. I use my Trinket, and I just Decree here, and then double Spirit Bomb. And here I'm just fracturing, keeping Immolation Aura, and then I kind of dip a little low here, so I bring that out here. I'm really worried about Sanguine, and I'm just putting in Soul Cleave as much as I can. I'm really capped out on Fury, but that's just kind of the nature of this legendary. You just get so much Fury, you can't spend it. So here I'm just holding my Decree because it was like dying instantly, and I'm going into this next pull kind of naked. I don't have much, so I'm just going to take stock of everything, lose aggro, but Decree kind of brings it together. Both Fiery Brand and meta were off of cooldown, so I had to go right into meta. And so right here, I'm just trying to drop as much AoE as possible, lay into the Decapitator, drop Purple Sigil to try to remove the stun. But I'm just going into Soul Cleaving as much as I can, just to drop Fury. Whenever you're above 4 shards, it's good to Spirit Bomb. But less than 4, you're going to use Soul Cleave. So right there, that was a double Spirit Bomb. I had 5 stacks, and Spirit Bomb twice. Another Spirit Bomb. Here we're just doing, this is a pretty decent fight. Maybe the initial snap threat could have been dangerous if I lost threat on one of the side guys, but I mean, it wasn't the main guy in the middle. Big guy, and it was actually okay. I probably could have used my second Trinket a little bit more. I don't think I used it at all. And here I'm just holding Decree. I thought about using it, but I didn't. 6.2k damage. It's not too bad. Looking at weak bars. Put as many weak bars as you can until you break your computer. This isn't too bad. There's like a tank buster here, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It's the crush ability. You can put a bunch of bombs out, like meta. You see, I like that meta, and I do everything. Like right as the chains come out, and that's just for padding the DPS moving. Alright, so I use both Fiery Brand and Demon Spikes for that crush ability. But Saga, I don't really think he's that difficult to do. Probably on higher keys. It's a lot more difficult. Around 18, I think, is when you have to take him a little more seriously. But this one doesn't matter. You can choose whatever here. Yeah, depending on what's going on. I use Trinket, doing some AoE stuff here. Spirit Bomb, and now it's just Fracture Soul Cleave, Fracture Soul Cleave. Do I hold meta here? I don't know. Probably should use it. I probably should have meta, but maybe I'm just saving it for Baruch. Just trying to drag that guy out of that thing. Use my second trinket. Sever is very important to use. Like all your as many defensives as you can. You can't like overdo it because he's going to cast it multiple times. So I use a Feldef. And Feldef alone will save you through. If you're pretty much during a Feldef, you're pretty much invulnerable.
To the victor goes the anima. Claim your power, ball walkers.
So this one, you can. It's almost always barbs. The barbs are just so good. Grab. What do I type here? Half? Yeah. Since this is fortified, this is kind of rough. Got line of sight as best I can and look at the ground. Spirit Bomb. Veldak. I'm just taking a lot of damage here, so I'm just trying to bring them out. Drag that guy through the Sanguine, so that was too great. Alright, now we're just going through everything. Our healer, our druid kind of. I hit a decree here, but I should have saved the decree until over here. But I think this is a part where, yeah, it's pretty good defensive. There's an elemental here, and I'm usually cool with elemental here, but the Sanguine is an issue, so I'm not sure exactly what happens, how we do this, but the elemental maybe just despawns in time. It's really good timing. Just trying to get him out of Sanguine as best I can.
I need to target something first.
So, I actually want to figure out what happened here, because I'm doing just fine. And yes. Oh, Kyle. Nice. Okay, so Kyle pulls the full heart somehow, and I'm struggling.
An ally has been slain.
I think I just really screw up here. Here's a Frost Lance. There's like so much going on. Oh no. Oh no.
An ally has been slain. I'm out of range.
I make it back in time. Everyone's doing great. Despite my screw up there. Sigil you can use almost always on cooldown, but if you're just starting out and you're worried about threat, you can go in there with Immolation Aura and then use Elysian Decree to really just guarantee threat. It's just really, really good. If you don't have that, you're gonna have to use Spell Death or just Soul Cleaving. Soul Cleaving is actually not that bad to get threat. At the start of this pull, you can just make sure you arc in the Torrent to remove that. It's really easy to do. Does that go through? Alright, so this next pull is actually risky this week with Sanguine. So I just don't want the Guardian to do his cast animation when they're Sanguine. So there's a kick, Spirit Bomb. So here's a Soul Storm, and then the guy on the left is getting low, and I just try to drag out, pull back in. Just make sure he's not in the spot. Rom almost pulls that side group. Left or right here? I like to go left when I have a lot of melee and right when I have a lot of ranged. And it's actually okay. In pugs, going right is actually a bit easier if you can like strong arm this area. But if you go left, you can't really do anything if your party members like get kicked off. But in this instance, we have our Demon Hunter, who takes a couple of spikes, I think. There's Beyblade. Unfortunate, kind of goes back into Sanguine. Here you could probably... I'm saving the Create for next pull. The next pull is just really nice to have the full threat.
I don't have a target.
Right, so probably, yeah, make sure you can spell steal that. You just don't want to get Death Ring. How did that grab it? Okay. Just trying to make sure that you're not sitting in sync. It's like a really difficult part of here, this platform. There's not a lot of place to work with. So there's both interrupts, which is usually good, but yeah, now this is single. Maybe, I think he gets that hit. So I could have used meta, like earlier on this route, and that's just better cooldown usage. I probably could have utilized that more. Maybe during the second Soulstorm guy, and have it ready by boss. So you got the Parasite. Whenever you have that, you can usually just tank it and have the healer dispel the other guy. I use Trinket, and Trinket's like super good at the scale. So I'm just trying to soul cleave as much as I can. Ulthrock does a lot of casts, so you don't have to have a lot of active defensives up. So he's like doing this, he's gonna do like draw soul in a little bit. So like, draw soul is going, and you don't need to use spikes or anything like that right now. But when he turns to face you, see I use my other trinket, and when that wears out, I'm gonna use spikes. I'll use another set of spikes. And I get the Parasite. I don't have any other active mitigation, so I use meta. And looking back, I think I should have not have done it. And just save meta. If I'm saving meta for this long, I might as well save it for the next pull, which is actually a fortified large trash pull. And I think you could probably get away with pulling everything, and you can use silencing sigil and boomkin thing. I think about pulling the other side. I'm like, no, I don't really know what's going on. Called for elemental earlier, so elemental's doing work. So I'm just trying to kick as much as I can. You can't really do as much as you can. So this is the last guy here. The last root guy I have to worry about is this sludge spewer. So he's about dead. So I can't hit my sigil here, but everything, yeah. Great sigil, okay. Figuring out how's the next pull looking. Is the patrol close? But it's not. And we don't have Maldraxxus either, or a Necrolord, whatever. So I firebrand the big guy, and I'm a sigil for everything. Trying to kick as much as I can. Trinket. Just trying to do the normal thing of create soul fragments and then consume them with soul fruit. And if you spawn more than four or more, then you Spirit Bomb. That's like the straightforward way of doing it. Spirit Bomb has a debuff that is on the target, so you want to get that out.
Lurks nearby.
Sure. I don't know how that pulls boomkin things. So I want to pull this into this room over here. So we're getting crashed. I'm kind of thinking we're just gonna wipe here, but do our best. So everything is used for me, so I'm gonna use Metamorphosis.
An ally has been slain.
Yeah, pretty low on options, but Meta comes off a cooldown, or a Feldeath. And that guy dies. So in a situation like this where you have like a normal mob and the Tormented, I know this is Season 1 or Season 2 and it's gonna hit, but the Season 2 Tormented guy, his health doesn't return back once you're out of combat. So if you wipe, all the damage is still stuck. Here you always take Bulwark. Well, not always. It's really good at the beginning of a dungeon, but towards the end it loses a lot of value. I don't have a lot of cooldowns here. Feldeath is coming up, but the spikes and Decree, we're just going to try to use Spirit Bomb, healing, or Soul Fragment healing. Meta's coming up, but now I'm in a risky spot where I don't have many cooldowns, so I'm just going to last set of spikes, and Kyle hold me close. Just taking a lot of damage. I use a potion here. So this is the riskiest part of playing this build, is your cooldowns, you can just spend them very easily. The gas bag's in a bad patrol. If you want to separate this, I'm going to separate it. So there's not a lot of aggro I was able to snap onto them, but I just use Soul Cleave and grab all of them. Freaking bird. Messes that up. And the last guy was going to die, so we'll just pull the next gas bag. You could probably bring the gas bag with the other group, but I mean we're making pretty good time, and there's no reason to continue to rush. I'm trying to just make some room for everybody. Squeeze in here. Layer my defensives. I want to use I'm going to use Feldef on the next pack, I think. Maybe I can just get away with not using it. I think I'm just concerned about saving it for boss. But I don't know. I probably shouldn't. This is a pretty bad pull. A bad cooldown usage by me. I should have done the standard open with. Actually, I think Firebrand was off on cooldown, so maybe I should have just Feldef'd earlier. The thing with this boss is you really need to have a defensive running for the tank buster. So I'm just kind of holding my Fiery Brand. My Fiery Brand is super ready for this Hateful Strike. And after a Hateful Strike, he does the pull. Well, the pull and the Hateful Strike are very close to each other. So you can use a Trinket, you can use Feldef. I just had a Feldef, and like during a Feldef, as you're channeling it, it's unkillable. And soon after it, I mean, because I'm running the Demonic talent, which you almost always are, the Metamorphosis part of it will ride, you'll be able to ride that through, I should pull this guy out because he's going to pull everybody into the goo. I use meta here to get out of that Hateful Strike. Much more important on a Tyrannosaur. I want to use a lot of cooldowns here because the boss is about to die and there's some time between moving around. So there's no reason not to blow. I mean, I could eat Feldef as well, but it's really not a big deal. I'm not sure how the route will change next season. Probably you'll be able to do just the wings in whatever order you want, rather than like running around to try to pick up the tormented powers. Kyle's asking if I want to grab the second guy and do them at the same time. Probably could have. This guy's kind of a joke. There's no kicks, nothing. It's just don't cast during that. Kyle really wants me to go over there.
Glory will be mine.
Is that a good double Spirit Bomb? Hilarious.
An ally has been slain.
So damage-wise, VDH is super good at doing damage. Like, this is single target here, and I'm getting 5-1, which is pretty dang good for a tank. Most of your damage actually comes from Immolation Aura. So you're gonna try to Immo Aura, like, on cooldown. Other than that, Immolation Aura and Elysian Decree. That's your biggest damaging ability. Followed by Spirit Bomb, but sometimes it's hard to Spirit Bomb. Here I'm holding Decree for next pull because I know next pull is actually a rather difficult pull. And I just want to have a lot of stuff. So I got Trinket, I got Decree, I've got so many things going on. So I go in, Trinket, Fracture once, Decree, Spirit Bomb, Spikes. There's a kick that went out. Cleave, Veldef, Fracture, and now it's like I need to make sure that we don't have an Archer in Sanguine. So that Captain goes down outside. I'm trying to just damage as much as possible. The Elemental's tanking, but now I'm tanking. So here comes my Trinket, my defensives. Fiery Brand could have been used, but things just died so quick. Maybe it was fine just to leave it for this ad here. So now Decree's back up, and I should probably just slam that out. Yeah. There's a double Spirit Bomb with the free Spirit Bomb on the first one. Probably could have Fractured. I type to Kyle, and I get hit by this. Thanks. Let's see. Pretty good. Maybe could have felt depth a little bit better on another spot because when I was in meta, there was a time when I was walking around not receiving damage. And if you're receiving damage, you want to have a defensive run. So it's like, why would you use Demon Spikes if you're kiting? That kind of mentality. And here I'm just saving Decree. I probably could have Decreed and just stay done with it. Looks like things are gonna die. It's time to go to boss. So his Tank Buster is pretty fierce. I just use, I don't know what I use there. Demon Spikes, now Zenith, Spirit Bomb. So here, don't use defensives. Why would you use defensives during this section? Just pool up your resources for the time when he's gonna start hitting you like a truck. So I Veldef and I Demon Spikes during this section. Now it's time to bring the banner down. Spirit Bomb over 4 shards. That goes down. Get that Decree off. I did take quite a bit of damage there though. When you're running around, those are the times when you're gonna be using your ranged abilities come on. That's your priority. Just do damage. So that's the only way you can do damage from range. With your 2 abilities that you have from range. So here's a brutal combo which I eat, and I should have used a trinket for. But instead I use healer cooldown, I guess? Healer abilities. Instead, I don't need to use anything. Really easy boss. You get sent down as a DPS, just do damage. Just don't turn around and or just sit there and stare at your opponent. Just cast. Do something. Tyrannical Week, you want to lust at 50% and above 15s and 16s. I'm just trolling with Kyle here. Burning my sigil. Whatever. The Tank Buster here, Reaping Sight, is half magic, half physical. So you want to have something running for it. It's a nice double Spirit Bomb. I just fell up on that one. You could lust on pull on this week, I think, and just have everybody send their cooldowns. But doing it at halfway makes the transition quite a bit easier. So run away from this. It would be nice to have yellow sigil and just grip everything here. I tried to use silencing sigil. That thing dies like an instant when I click on it from something. Here's the 50% lust. I just use meta, and I'm just like, well, might as well do some damage. This is pretty easy time. Decree, Spirit Bomb, Fracture. Dodge the stuff. Yeah, this is like so easy. Like how do you die on this boss? Just have your defensive up. Use my boots to try to counteract that pull, spell death. Just stagger your cooldowns. And if you're running the other build, it's even easier than that. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. +2 casual favorite thing. So that's kind of how I do this build. This build is basically you're trying to throw your sigil down, consume a bunch of orbs, and just do a bunch of damage like that. Have your versatility go up to like 50%, or something ridiculous. And with the other build, the Fiery Brand, Soul Cleave build, you're just whenever souls come out, you're just trying to Soul Cleave them down. Fracture souls, cleave them down. And keep your defensives running in a staggered fashion, because if you blow all of your cooldowns, then you're just naked for a long period of time. And you have to rely on something like an Iron Bark or something. Anyway, that's that. I guess see you in Season 3.